Wow, sitting out here at a stoplight, this is how many Tacomas there are in deep South Texas, including mine. Four. I just saw four of them. Two sitting over there at the light, and one past me, and my own, of course. It's awesome. I love it. I am in Toyota Tacoma country down here. But the video is not really about that. I have a little bit of a confession to make. Got to come clean on something. You might be aware, if you watch the channel often enough, or if you watch my other channel, RobMotive JT, that I also have a Jeep Gladiator, a 2025. Now, everybody's always asking me, which one's better? Which one do you prefer? And, it kind of goes back and forth. It kind of depends on what I'm doing, honestly. But for a brief period of time, I actually preferred the Jeep Gladiator over the new Toyota Tacoma. And you might be wondering, well, how can that be? Why? Well, let me give you a little backstory. The first fourth gen Tacoma that I had was a 2024 TRD Sport. Love that truck. Did not have a Jeep Gladiator at that time. So I traded that off because I wanted to experience the TRD off-road. Got the TRD off-road and found it to be not quite as quick as what the 24 Sport was, and not quite as firm. It wasn't as tight from a handling standpoint. Not any problems with the truck or anything. It's just a different trim level, right? It's designed for off-road, so it had a bit of a different suspension, and it had other parts or components on it. They're not exactly the same when the setup is looked at. So it was a little bit heavier. Nothing wrong with the truck. And then I got a Jeep Gladiator. And the Jeep Gladiator is pretty nimble. It's pretty quick. It's got good acceleration. And it felt lighter. Definitely firmer than the off-road was. And definitely tighter when it comes to suspension, right? So I was kind of leaning that way. And I'm a Tacoma guy, right? So it felt like I was being disingenuous. Here I am driving around in a Tacoma when I really was digging the Gladiator more. So I decided to trade off, as you guys know, we're sitting in it right now. I decided to trade off the 25 TRD Sport, off-road, for the 25 TRD Sport that we're in right now. And it has brought me full circle back around to where I should be. I love this trim level, and it is the trim level for me. Of course, this is highly subjective, and it's really a matter of personal preference. What do you like? What's right for me, obviously, is not going to be right for everybody. So just, if you're in the market and you're looking, go out and test drive both and get the one that you like. But anyway, this truck is quick. It has very little, if any, throttle lag. Push the button to throw it into sport mode, and it's even better. I love that. Even in eco mode, it's not bad. It's also firm as far as the suspension goes, even without the, heavier, firmer tires that I have on it right now. And it's better handling from a firmness standpoint than what I had prior. And all of that makes it, in my opinion, better than the Jeep Gladiator. Now, I'm not dogging the Jeep Gladiator either. Obviously, I ponied up the money and I bought one, so I must like them. Plus, it's the fourth one that I've had. So, yeah, I do like the truck. But what's better about this than the Jeep Gladiator? Well, obviously, the things that I mentioned. It's quick. I think it's quicker than the Gladiator. It's firmer, and it handles a little bit better than the Jeep Gladiator. From an appearance standpoint, that's kind of a toss-up. The Jeep Gladiator is very unique, and I find polarizing. People either like them or they don't like them. There's really no in-between. You're never going to mistake a Jeep Gladiator for any other mid-sized truck out there on the road, right? So I like both. There's really not a big difference for me. I love the redesigned new Tacoma, but I also love the rugged, tough off-road look of the Jeep Gladiator. What about the interior? If anything, It's probably a tie. It's tough for me to go between the two. There are benefits and negatives to both. The new Toyota Tacoma is a little bit tighter, a little more confining in the entryway when you get in and out of the truck. And while that might be a small thing, you do it every time you get in and out of the truck, right? So you experience that every time. It's just a little bit easier to get in and out of the Jeep Gladiator. The rear seat room. You know, Toyota, it's funny. They are almost getting into two-seat truck territory, right? It's like they throw the back seat back there just so, for insurance purposes, it's not considered a sports car? I don't know. But we do have the seats. It's very confining. The Jeep Gladiator is definitely bigger in the back seat area and more comfortable. Although I would say that the entry point for both the Tacoma and the Gladiator are both pretty tight getting in and out. So that's kind of a toss-up. But I would have to throw it to the Gladiator when it comes to room and comfort back there. Definitely more, I would say. Headroom, that's kind of a toss-up. You know, that was one of the big complaints with the Toyota Tacoma in the third gen, is that there was no headroom. Of course, Toyota took care of that. They put this kind of cap on the top of the truck and gave us about this much more room. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but it really does make a difference. And I would say it's probably comparable to what we have in the Jeep Gladiator. You know, it's basically a rectangle on wheels, or a square on wheels, right? And it goes up a decent amount of space. I'd say it's probably pretty darn close. So I would give that a tie. But otherwise, the overall edge to me goes to the Toyota Tacoma. It's something about the heritage, I guess, which is weird when you're talking about a Jeep. But the heritage, or the feel of being in a Toyota Tacoma, the improvements that they made when it comes to acceleration and ride quality, handling, all that stuff. And I'm talking about the sport trim, of course, because that's, again, what I have and what my favorite is. From a fuel economy standpoint, we got to mention this, even though this is the thing that everybody talks about, but nobody wants to hear about. It's very odd. 15.8 miles per gallon right now in my Toyota Tacoma. It's horrible. It's not great. It's mostly city driving, and of course I've got the heavier tires on it, so I'm kind of causing my own problem there. But nonetheless, as comparing this to the Jeep Gladiator, it's getting about 17.6, somewhere in that range. So it's obviously better. It's about 2 miles per gallon better. I know it's a truck. Why are we even talking about fuel economy? Honestly, we shouldn't be, but we always do. Nonetheless, my favorite now, and I can say this definitively, is the Toyota Tacoma. Love driving this truck. I think it's just awesome. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you've got another vehicle in addition to your new Tacoma, which one do you prefer? Is the Tacoma your favorite or no? I'd just be curious to know. And what is that vehicle? Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.